Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. And welcome to another episode of Glass Half Full, a podcast and a safe platform where we talk with a variety of teachers, entrepreneurs, spiritualists, uplifters, givers, shakers, and serenaders. Everyone has a lesson to learn and a lesson to share. Let's use our life experiences to enrich someone's heart, mind, spirit, and soul. Through sharing our experiences, we can be a learning inspiration for one another. I'm your host, Chris Levens. Let's welcome today's guest. Today's guest is Buck. Buck is a Guyanese-American from Brooklyn, New York. He has lived all over the U.S. and overseas and loves to travel. Let's give a warm welcome for Buck. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello, hello. How are you?
I'm very well. Good evening to you.
And good evening or good morning to you wherever you are in the world.
Yes, it is. It is morning here. It is morning here in my part of the world. Thank you for taking some time out to be a guest here on Glass Half Full.
Oh, that's always, of course, because my glass is always half full. So I love the title. I love it.
Yes, 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 yes. Well, we're going to jump right on in. I like to ask all of my guests this opening question. I feel that our lives are in spiritual design. So can you share with us your life layout or your blueprint with everyone? How you grew up, where, your family lifestyle?
Well, I sure can. And thank you for that question. It's really kind of bizarre because for the longest time, I thought my life had no blueprint or grand design, even though I grew up in a faith-based household. And of course, when you're young, you think you're fearless and you're um, invulnerable to a degree. But as you know, as you said it earlier, I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and I have Guyanese. My whole family is from Guyana, South America, and it's very spiritual and kind of also very third eye aware as well. And it's so funny because I didn't realize. Well, when I was younger, my parents, married for a very long time, and those values that they instill in you, you're just like, okay, well, whatever. At first, I thought by the time when I was 10, I was like, I'm going to be a meteorologist. Like, that's what I'm going to do because I love the weather. The weather is great, which was inspired by Storm of the X-Men because I thought she was really, really cool to control the weather, And then as you get older, I'm just like, well, from my life to the military to living overseas to doing comedy to doing a little bit of radio, I discovered my blueprint actually in my 30s.
Wow.
I discovered my superpower and my blueprint in my 30s, and the ability to kind of entertain people and make them laugh. And I guess it's something that's always been there, but my true blueprint came, later on in life. So even having a faith-based background, and I think people may be in constant turmoil sometimes for no reason,
Mhm.
because everything that you need to know about yourself is there. The foundation is there, the direction is there. We just don't hear sometimes those celestial whispers that are like, no, go left. No, heifer, really, go left. Like turn, and they say sometimes God comes to you in a still whisper, but sometimes he'll throw a brick at you too and be like, no, for real, you gotta turn left. So you know what I'm saying? So I found my blueprint in my 30s, and the spirit was telling me to. People prayed over me that they were like, "You're gonna be a pastor," and that still voice was like, "No, you're gonna use that voice to entertain people and bring love to people through laughter." And if that's not like spreading the word, because the gospel is love.
Mm.
So if I'm spreading love and light, I guess I am a comedic pastor in that. That's probably blasphemous on some level, but you know what I'm saying? But I'm a comedic pastor because I mean you've heard some of my stuff before. So and ain't no God in it. But still, the ability to bring love to people, I think that is the house that my blueprint was built from. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
So that's kind of where that came from. Great
I,
question, though.
I love it. I love it. Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have an older brother. Who is he's a horrible person. He's a horrible
Oh
person.
my
I, I
gosh.
in the worst way, in the best way possible. I love him to death. I'm like, did you eat? Like he's just like he'll call me and go, "Hey, are you okay? Do you need to talk?" And that's his way because he's such a macho guy. That's his way of saying he needs to talk.
Mm,
So after an hour of explaining to him that I'm good, I fish out his issue, and I have an older sister, Tamika, Lord, that thing. And I have a sister, Natasha, that's deceased,
okay.
um, which I raised Natasha's daughter, Lexi. But yes, I do have two siblings left living, and I am the youngest.
Oh, me
And you
too.
would swear, yes, you are the youngest, aren't you? And I would swear that I am the oldest. I swear that now I look the oldest. They treat me like the oldest, and they're always like, "Why do you say those things?" I'm like, "Cause y'all aren't living right. Like stop doing some of this stuff, you know." And it's like, when did I, the free spirit person with green hair, like when did I turn into like, you know me. I like catch my bedtime at 9:45. You know what I'm saying? Like, let me
Okay.
drink some tea
The
and lay
witching
down.
hour.
The witching hour. But yeah, I've got two siblings, and my parents were married. This year would have been 50 years. But I lost my mom in January.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
I thank you. I thank you. I thank you. And it's been a trying experience, but from losing a loved one, which you have shared with me your story as well,
Hmm.
in the past, like it never gets easy. You just learn to build a bridge over it. You know what I mean? You just kind of build a bridge over it because you want to look at those people that you lost and still love them, from that bridge and stuff like that. But you never get over it. But you do find ways to find comfort in the weirdest ways.
Yeah, no, it's true. It is so true. So let me ask you,
Well, of course,
what are you most passionate about?
today, um, right today, um, I just came up and doing a comedy show. I'm most passionate about my comedy, and I'm most passionate my comedy and my travel business, the comedy and travel. So
Oh,
those are the
do
two
tell, do
things that
tell.
I will tell. So I do have I'm a professional stand-up comedian, I'm a professional sailor, and I'm a professional independent travel business owner. And I love to tell jokes, and I was traveling so much telling jokes and moving around and doing things. A buddy of mine was like, "Hey, well, you could be why don't you just use this platform to get some different rates and discounts on your travel since you're traveling so much?" And then that end up turning into a side um, business. And I
Nice.
think back to the blueprint.
Hmm.
When you start doing the things that you're supposed to do, or go in the direction that you're supposed to go, everything else falls in line. Like everything else falls in line. Like your money gets right,
Uh-oh.
your
Uh-oh.
relationships
Speak on it.
change. You know what I'm saying? So when you're following your bliss, not really your bliss, but when you're following that blueprint and you start to actually build that house, if you will, which is your temple, your life, or whatever, everything falls in place. And I, again, was not the biggest naysayer. I was one of the biggest naysayers of that. Not that I'm a negative person, because my glass is, no pun intended, half full all the time. I'm ready for the adventure. But
Hmm.
the older that I got, I was ready for substance and not substances.
Hmm.
So, with that being said, when I started to finally build off of my blueprint, all the other things just kind of went, "Hey, well, now that you're doing this, oh, well, why don't you do this travel thing?" And it's like, and then people were like, "Hey, well, other comedians that I was traveling with was like, how are you?" And then the money came, and then these things followed through. It's not, now, grant you, it's not $1 million, but there's enough. Sometimes there's enough scratch left over. I can, like we say, I can buy a purse with the change. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Oh, sweat. I got something for that. Hold on, hold on. Yes.
Yes. I'm not as organized as I could be, but I do plan. Like I plan for the fallout. Like I plan for the fallout.
Mhm.
We're very similar in that way. Like if there is, okay, move my forks, and I'm in distress. But if you go, hey, um, we need a plan, and what's the backup plan? And I'm like, I already dug out the fallout shelter, and I know where we're going. So, as far as those things, I just in this part of my life now, all of those things are now starting to fall into place. And the crazy thing is, I could have been here 12 years ago, but there were still roads I had to walk down. There were things I still had to do wrong before I got it right. So I guess maybe faith, faith and fate,
Mhm.
and divine destiny. Because it's not destiny, it's divine destiny.
All right now.
Because, I don't know. I would be foolish to say that I think the beginning and the end are pre-written.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think the beginning and the end are pre-written, and sometimes the road that you take to get there from the beginning to the end, that might be a circle, a square, a triangle, and some other words that I can't quantify right now or use, but I think the end game is real. Like we all end up where we're supposed to be if we listen.
Mhm.
If we listen.
Right.
And I mean, you could be 30, 40, 15. There's these young millennials that they figured out where they were going like when as teenagers. But that's not for everybody. And again, for me, like Mike, and no pun intended again, my glass is half full, and I willfully walk down some of them wrong roads because I wanted to see what the food tastes like down there. I want to know what was going on. So I walked down those roads on purpose. And some were great and some were not so good. But now it is starting to level out. Um, I sometimes wish I had the energy to do um, more, but I've always been a lot. So I'm okay. You know what I'm saying? I've always been a lot, doing extra. But I'm fine with now just taking care of me. And also had to liquefy some friendships and get some people out of there
Mhm.
to help me see some of those things.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
sometimes it has to be done.
it does. It does for sure.
Nice. Can you tell us who are your role models?
Well, number one, my mom,
Oh.
my mother, and my grandmother were my biggest role models because they were always, a lot of people say like this person famous, this person famous. I'm gonna start closer to home because in my home, like, and even after I grew into to my own, my mother and my grandmother, and I mean even so my dad, but more so my mother and my grandmother were always like, "Baby, go out and do that thing. Go out and do that thing." And when you are a success, because it's not if, it's when you become a
I
success.
like that. Yes.
Um, it's never, well, when you, but no, it's never if, it's when you become a success. They're like, you could always come back and share it with us. And hey, if it doesn't work out, come back and share it with us. So, there was always a level of you have a home. And when you can always go back to something, and you can tell people the truth in your family and get that love. Like you're not gonna hold anything over me because my mama loves me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was given that as a foundation. Like, so my role model is my mom and my grandmother, most importantly, and then other strong village moms, i.e. Miss Levens. We had a lady named Miss Ola in the neighborhood. She was a village mom. Like these women, Mr. Rudolph and a couple of other
Yes.
really just wonderful, like people that you never read about,
Mhm.
but that were true to my heart. And those people were leaders and legends and just role models because of their character and their posture, and their posture. So
Mhm.
um it started from these unnamed heroes that I just want to love them all right now
I love
because
that.
like my mom and my grandmother and all these other people, that would always just sometimes when people say what is a role model, um a role model is somebody you shouldn't admire them for what they have, but you admire them on the great deeds that they do to achieve things. and to support people and to nurture people. That's what a role model does. Role model and mentor should go hand in hand because it's more these beautiful queens in my life mentored me and they loved me and they raised me and they provided intrinsic foundations for me to be even a man, and it's very difficult. Some people go, well, a woman can't raise no man. Yes she can. Yes she can. And my dad was present as well too, but and I got quiet strength from him in a different way. But again, it started because my dad worked a lot and my mom and grandmother were always there.
Yes.
And even when I was broke and didn't have no money, when I was able to return the favor, there's nothing that I wouldn't do. I still have my grandmother, but there was nothing that I wouldn't do for my mom as well, because they always were just so loving and just always genuinely interested in what I was doing. They took time to know what I was doing.
Which
So
is
yeah, those were my
important.
role models. It's very important. I don't know if we ever talked about this before, but my mom once told me, she said, hey, well, and I think she knew she was going to pass at some juncture. She said, I want you to share your life um, with somebody. She said, but here are two things that I want you to remember. Make sure that you love them, but also make sure that you believe in them and they believe in you. And it just kind of resonated. It changed my whole perception of wanting to be in a long-term committed relationship, because it's those things, it's those words of wisdom that I got from my mom and my grandma. Yeah.
I love it. I love it. These priceless moments, these, educational pockets that we get. And like you say, some things we learn from books and from school, and some things we learn from our family. And this is
Yeah.
what the difference is with lots of people, what your family has taught you, certain values and traits and things and manners that people continue to uphold. Because now, those grandmothers, some are still alive, a lot of them are gone, the ones with the old house coats and the slippers on, the day dress all day long.
The date, yes, yes.
That's
But
great that your grandmother is still living, because their value and their thought process and the education that they have no longer is really alive anymore for, all these young people. Their grandmothers are young, great grandmama is young too. So,
yeah,
it's,
great grandma is 55. Great
right.
grandma's 55. You're like, what?
We say, oh, okay, well, how old is your great great grandmama?
Yeah, what she said? She said 60? Nuh-uh. She said 37? That's what
Right?
Medea said. She said Grandma Tomika.
Yeah, no, not at all. Well, along the lines of that question with the role model, this next question: what makes a house a home? And what's the difference between your job and your work? It's a two-part question.
Okay.
Let me know if you need
Two-part
me to
question.
repeat that.
Nope, I got it. I got it. And those are great questions, by the way.
Thank you.
So what makes a house a home is first, number one, love. Love makes a house a home, or the difference of a house and a home.
Yeah.
Love and your peace, your home should always be, your peace should stem from when you are home and you're home because you put love and time, and it's a place where, number one, you feel comfortable.
Mm,
Like your mountain of power, if the outside world is crazy, your peace should be at home.
amen.
Home should be peaceful. And to me, that's what makes a house a home, is the level of love and peace and a good meal on the table, because you want to break bread with people you love. So a good meal, a foundation of love, and a good old easy chair, somewhere to be comfortable. That's the main thing. That's what makes a house a home for me. And I guess the second portion to your question, you said the difference between
Your
work and a
job and your
job. Is that
work.
what it was?
Yes.
Your job and your work. A job punches in and out. That's, a job punches in and out. and your work. Are you meaning like as far as comedy as my work, or comedy as my job? Is that what you mean by that?
Or meaning your work, what is it that you're here to do in society? What is it that you're here to put forth in the world compared to
Um,
a work can be something that people are working on for decades,
oh, I got you. Okay, I'm
in that
tracking. I'm
sense of
tracking.
work.
So my sense of my job and my work is to entertain people and tell my story. That's my work. I mean, and it's a work in process because it's an ongoing piece. But just to share a part of who I am with the world, that is my life, to entertain and to make people feel like they're a part of my family, because people need that every once in a while. And I don't mean it in the intimate sense. I just mean it as my work just transcending. Hey, if this joke that I wrote, or this story that I told, or if this changed your perspective and made you smile and made you feel warm in that moment, mission accomplished. Um,
Right.
I
Excellent.
think a little happiness, thank you. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it.
That's a great answer. Great answer. Nice.
Thank you.
Well, let's change it over to a little bit of fun time. We know that you enjoy a good laugh, and we always enjoy a good laugh. So I thought we'd play a little bit of a game.
Okay.
Um,
Here we go.
the game is called Would You Rather? Would you
Okay.
rather? So we're going to
All
give
right.
you 40 seconds on the clock for each answer, and whatever comes to your head for out of the question. So here's question 1. Would
Okay.
you rather have a neck 2 feet long or have ears like an elephant?
I'd rather have ears like an elephant,
Why?
because if it's cold, I can wrap them things around me and stay warm, and I can hear them hating ass heifers when they talking about me.
Oh my gosh. That's
And I mean,
good.
wouldn't that be fantastic? Them ears can be a cape or something if you need something, to accessorize, throw a belt around it. I can hold them down over me, wrap up in it.
Oh my gosh. Hey, that's good. That's good.
Great. And Dumbo's mother flew. So Dumbo flew. So maybe I might take flight and, jump off a building. Them ears might carry me aloft or something. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, all right. Excellent. Question number 2.
Okay.
Would you rather increase your ability to smell or be 5 times stronger?
I would want to be 5 times stronger.
Why?
I revert to question number 1, just for them heifers that are tall as Mac, so I can knock some of them out.
Oh
No, I would want to be stronger, because I mean, people smell too much. There's too much sense in the world. You know what I'm saying? There's some things I would not want to smell
it's true.
ever again. But I would just want to be stronger, because I mean, who wouldn't want to lift up a tank? You know what I'm saying? I want to get my Superman, Wonder Woman, He-Man fantasy on.
Yeah,
So
that's
yeah, I
true.
would want to be physically stronger so I could run faster and do all those things. I would be stronger for sure.
Okay, that's a good answer. That's a good answer. Number 3. Would you rather have 8 arms or 8 legs?
Wow, that's maybe 8 arms,
Okay, why?
for reasons that I would tell you not on the air. But 8 arms. Oh, because with 8 arms, I can write comedy with one arm. I can jump rope with the other arm. I can drive and text with the other arm. Are we saying arm and hand connected to the arm, or just arms?
I guess it would be the ands too.
Well, so yes, so I can truly multitask and keep one hand available with them ears and that super strength, so I can slap them heifers talking about me behind my back. So I refer to question 1 and question number 2. I want to keep that one pimp hand strong, for those people that always got something to say.
Oh my gosh. That's great. That
They won't see it coming. I got 8 arms.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Question number 4. Would you rather have eyes so big you look like a cartoon character, or speech bubbles that popped up every time you said anything?
Speech bubbles. Well, big eyes. I think big eyes are weird, except for on Diana Ross. I would
know,
want to
right?
have big eyes though. Yeah, that's just
But she's
weird.
got big hair, so it kind of helps it a
Yeah,
little bit.
exactly. I'm bald headed. You know that would look crazy having big old eyes. So I would want to have speech bubbles so I can really just let them just bubble out so I can just and then pop it when I'm done so it's gone. That's why I would want to have speech bubbles. I can't explain. I can't explain why. I just feel like speech bubbles would just be more appropriate for me.
Yeah, I agree too. Definitely. The speech bubbles. We were like, did he just say? Did he? Yeah, he said
Boop,
it.
it's gone. Yeah, it's still floating. Catch it and then pop it. It's gone. Now
Right.
you can't say. I ain't say nothing. I ain't say nothing.
Okay, one more question for you. Would you rather lose the ability to read or to speak?
Oh wow. Wow. Chris,
Lose
I
the
do
ability to read
not.
or to speak?
That is really a hard one because speaking is my moneymaker.
Mm.
But then I would not have the capacity to write anything down and be able to read it to be funny.
Yeah.
So I would be in a weird place. I guess I can't really sign. No, my ability to no, because I can still hear.
Yeah, you
I
can
can still hear.
Mm-hmm. I think we stumped you.
I would have to say my. Oh my God, I would be. It was so horrible. I would have to give up my ability to speak.
Oh wow.
Because if you can read, you can still comprehend things.
Mm-hmm.
That's knowledge and power. But my ability as an orator, that is my money maker. Like that is my superpower. Like my voice is my superpower.
Mm-hmm.
So it's but I would still want to take in information because I'm nosy. I need to be able to read. I need to be able to read. That's just terrible. Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh. Okay.
But you got me though. I was like, wow, that's a good question.
Yes. Well, thank you for participating in our game.
Yay, that
Would
was
you
fun. That
rather?
was a lot of fun.
Yeah, nice job. Nice job.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank
Jumping back to the realness.
you. Okay.
Let me ask you, what event in the past, present, or future would you like to witness in person? Let's imagine that you have the ability to choose to go and see this event. So you can go to the past, you can be here in the present, or you can go to the future to witness it in person. What event would you go to?
And this sounds really, really. It sounds really, really silly. I would have liked to have gone back in the past to be one of the dancers in The Wiz when they did the Emerald City scene.
Solid gold.
Yes. I'd rather be seen in green, wouldn't be caught dead
In red.
in red. Yeah. And that sounds so random. Like you think I'd say something like, "I want to see the Underground Railroad." They ain't had no trains,
Oh my
or
God.
something crazy, or just I'm afraid to see what happens in the future, so I'm gonna take it day by day. Like I'm okay
I
with
know
that. Like I'm
that's
gonna take it
right.
day by day. We might not be here, so I don't want to see that.
Right?
But yeah, I think I would want. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Were you looking for like a historical moment in time? And I know some people would be like would pick something
No, you
else.
could choose whatever you want. Yeah, it's just an event. So what do you say, the taping, the recording day of?
The Wiz, and I'll tell you why.
Okay,
Um, I'll tell you why, just real quick.
go ahead.
So for us that are entertainers, people of color, for brown people that are entertainers, for black people that are entertainers, when you see a production like The Wiz, like those were things for me that when I start seeing those things in like black exploitation films and stuff like that,
Hmm.
that's when you really start to see like we are more than just nothing. Like we are dancers and actors and writers and composers, and that scene was so choreographed. When I went and watched the documentary, there was something like there was like 100 there was 100 um speakers, huge wall-sized speakers, because there were so many dancers. They had to
Wow.
space them, I think, like 15 feet apart in like succession, because there were so many dancers. It was the sound was off by a few seconds. So he had to add more speakers so everyone could hear and be in real time on step. And
Wow.
it was just beautiful to when you can create something. I wanted to see something in its creation. Yeah, yeah, I would want to go back and see the dinosaurs or the creation of time. Or, actually, I take that back. I would want to be in Africa when the first slave ship came and told Kunta and them, don't get on that boat. Don't get on that boat. Don't get on that boat.
Oh my gosh.
It was like, there are hard times coming. Don't get on that boat.
Right.
You know. But yeah, that would be probably, definitely the seat, yeah, the Wiz.
I
Wiz. That
love
sounds
that
great.
answer. I love the Wiz too. So it was like, oh wow, I would have never thought of that. That's good.
Because, I was listening to the soundtrack like 2 hours ago.
Oh wow.
A bit, I had a Lena Horn. I had a Lena Horn moment. And
If you
that's the best. Yeah.
believe.
When believe, yes. And that's the best Diana Ross ever sang when she sang "Home" at the end.
Yeah, she
No,
killed it. She killed
she
it.
killed it. She killed it. But that Lena Horn, I, you can walk on there. It was
Yeah, she
good. It was
did it
good.
too.
Yeah,
You
she did it. She did it. It was,
believe.
yeah, it was hopeful. Munchkins were doing backflips and things.
Right? They
It was
came
good.
out graffiti off the walls. I was
Graffiti
like,
off the
you can't
wall,
beat
and
that.
you can't. And don't nobody bring me, God, Mabel King, like, she did the Wicked Witch.
She did
She
do it.
did. She said, "Don't nobody bring me no bad news." Um,
When I wake up
so it was,
in the morning.
yeah, yeah. Well, it sounded like somebody's auntie. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's true.
She
It's
mean.
true.
It's like she mean, but her Kool-Aid was real good. Yeah.
Right. Right. Put the extra sugar in it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
The
He a little
extra sugar.
diabetes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Okay, let's jump to your future. Where do you see yourself in 5 years from now? Tell us what you might have planned in your head, or where would you like to see yourself if you don't already
I
know
would
where you want to be.
um my own comedy venue, owning my own comedy venue, and a Netflix special and some other side projects.
Yes.
I'd like to then start coaching um, some of the newer comedians, or just comedians in general.
Hmm.
I would like to do something and even an offside of that, a nonprofit, called, Just for Laughs, just something, a way to bridge for the community, some happiness and awareness, like an art program in the community.
I love
It'll
that.
probably, something to encompass like even singing, dancing, comedy,
Some type of
mainly in
art
our community.
school, arts program.
Right. Just and definitely non for profit, because again, when you do the things that you are supposed to do, to bet, like, everything else falls in line. I'm not gonna worry about the money because it'll show up if my spirit is in the right place.
Hmm.
Like, the work is gonna come, but everything will show up. And I want to give back to some wonderful people. And that's what the old, like you said, the old generation is, they're leaving us. So we have to invest that time and energy in our kids and show them, listen, you don't have to be, it's not about just being a rapper and a basketball player.
Right.
You can be a composer and you can be a dancer and you can be a musician and you can be a doctor and you can be a lawyer. You can be a scholar. You can be all of these things because you can be. So, some kind of fun artsy program, but it's going to be that Netflix special.
I love it. Yes, for the Netflix
And
special.
then, yes, and hopefully some of that money from Live Nation will pay for some of these other endeavors. But that's what I see in a few years. But stand up stand up. Every dog has its day. I believe that you do get your 15 minutes, and I want it, and I want mine. I don't want anybody else's. I don't want anybody else's. I just want mine, and I'm okay at 14 minutes and 59 seconds. 0.9999. And when it's time for me to go, I just want to have the best 15 minutes that I had, made some money, did some good things, and be able to use them resources to help other people for sure. That is where I see myself in 5 years.
Yes.
Because everything else, to be honest with you, Chris, I traveled, I bought a home, I finished college. You know what I mean? Like all of those things I did. So now I want I need a little something for me, and I want that so I can continue to maybe help other people. And that's it.
That. Yes, pay it forward. That's awesome. And that's how we continue to be blessed. Just be giving of ourselves, from your heart, out of love, just
You're so right.
so.
You're so right. And you got to give it freely. You've got to give it freely. Because all this is just stuff. You can't hold on. You can't hold on to this.
Yeah,
You
we
got to
can't
share
take it
that.
with us when we go either.
You can't. You got to share that thing. You got to share that thing. And you never know from your good blessing how many other generations of people that blessing might affect.
So true.
And that's again centered more, not centered more in our community, because definitely I want to help. I will never turn away helping anyone, for that matter. But at the same time, the narrative right now is, um, I want our children to get a fair, not a special place, just a fair place. And if they have all the pieces that they need to compete fairly and be successful fairly, then there it is. There it is.
Definitely. So we all know you as a person who is, uplifted and, high energy, smiles. Can you tell us when you're down, what do you do to feel better?
Um, that is thank you for that question. It's a very, I am not quite sure how I'm going to answer, but whatever comes out, remember, you asked this question. Um, I rely on the wonderful people, yourself included, those wonderful spirits that I have in my life when my tank is empty. I don't know why that got me emotional in this moment, but um, there have been some great people, yourself included, that have been in my life that have helped even love me past my pain. And sometimes it's a very indirect thing. Sometimes it's a hey Suge, or what's on your mind, or um the people that do love you in your life, they kind of feel something's off with you and will reach out randomly. And I think that having that circle, and that circle, I realize I know a lot of people, but that circle is no longer big, and I choose it not to be big. Um, I have the support and love of my friends. I will say my family, because those friends that are close to me are my family. So I lean on them as I would demand that they lean on me when they are in need as well.
Yes, that's a great answer. That's a great
Thank
answer.
you.
Yeah, that's what friendship is about, right? It is an extended
It is.
family. It is that
It
sense
is.
of, and for some friends, I guess it comes to the value when you get to the point where you can tell your friend that you love them. Even though you do, sometimes it's unsaid, but it's nice when you can get to the point where you can share that with your friends to say, oh, I love you. It takes time for everybody, but it's nice when
It
you
does.
can have that rapport to be able to share, to be able to verbally express that you verbally love them. It's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely. And there's not too, and I got a good top 10 that after I speak to them, I get off the phone, from little dainty women to big old men that I get right before I'm like, hey, I love you.
Mm-hmm.
Or I love your face, or I miss your face.
Yeah.
That's normally my way of saying I'm like, I miss your face, like something awful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's wonderful to be able to tell your friends you love them in conversation and just be genuinely happy to know them and
Yes.
they'll be a part of your life. That is beautiful. And I rely on those good friendships. Like, um, I wouldn't say that I couldn't live without them, but this life would be difficult. This life would be terrible without them.
It's so
It
true.
would be terrible without them.
Hmm.
So
Yeah, it's so
um,
true. Lonely.
lonely. It'd be lonely. Be very lonely.
Definitely. Oh, that's such a great answer.
Well, thank you.
Super, super. Do you have any
Well,
final
you are.
thoughts for our guests, for our listeners? Your
I do
guests.
have a final. I do have a final thought. I, this platform that you're doing is fantastic.
Oh.
It is so well put together, and the question, it's fun. It's really fun. It's really fun, and it's not toxic, and I love that. I love that.
Oh,
But that's
yes. No
but
toxic.
that's not you as a That's not you as a person anyway.
No,
So,
it's not.
um, just final thoughts is just everybody out there. There is nothing wrong with saying please and thank you. Just always try to put something in your spirit. Always try to uplift each other, and that is it. That is it. Just a message of love. Just let's keep putting things in the temple and sharing what we've got, sharing knowledge, sharing breaking bread. Um, and it's okay if something's not for you, and it's okay if someone's not for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We don't have to try to make things work that don't work.
Right.
That insanity. Let's stop doing that. It's okay to say I need to separate myself from these situations, but have tangible reasons. Don't do it for the shade or you're jealous of somebody or what have you. If they're not for you, they're not for you. If a situation is not, if a job is not for you,
Right.
um, and listen to those signs. Like your body will pull you. You'll feel your body tugging you, going, "Hey, the spirit is telling me to go this way. I need to try this out, or I want to know more about that." Don't be afraid to learn something new, and everything will fall into place
Yes, that
when you
was for
figure that
somebody.
out.
That message right there was for somebody listening in. You gonna hit that
Yeah,
for somebody right there.
yeah, it's somebody specific, and
Mm-hmm.
they can email me at Bucks BUCS underscore comedy on IG and Paul Buck Gittins on Facebook and my website,
Yes.
paulbuck.com. You can see some of my stuff and some of my comedy. That's how they can reach me and
And
stuff
they're
like that.
spelling
But
Buck BUC.
BUC, no K's, BUC. And for the Instagram, it's BUCS underscore comedy, Bucks comedy on Insta.
You have
And I got a
Twitter?
TikTok account. I have Twitter. It's Bucktown14, BUC Town 14, and my I don't know what my TikTok is yet, but it's connected to my Insta. So and I'm just learning TikTok because I'm having so much fun with TikTok. I didn't want to do it, but the video, Chris, is hilarious. It's so much silliness. It's just silliness. It's empty space. It's empty space,
Wow.
but it's fun. It's a lot of fun for sure.
Oh, look, my niece is into it. I'm like, I don't need any more distractions. I will leave y'all to it.
You would be so good at it because you could sing some like quick little clips. There's even people teaching tutorials on TikTok. You could
Wow.
do like and these are how you do scales and 30 seconds of that, and you would not believe the amount of followers pour back into your business. But we'll have our TikTok conversation offline.
Yes,
If
yes,
anything, it's
yes.
all good fun to watch some of those silly videos.
That you know I'll
That
need some
just,
help.
yeah, of course, of course, of course.
Well, in closing, let me ask you, and you've mentioned throughout this podcast, is your glass half empty or half full?
My glass is half full. My glass is half full, and I like. Um, Not that I'm not willing to let. Sometimes people like you got to come with your glass empty. Um, but there's so many wonderful people, like I said, that have put things in that glass. It's half full, and when it gets full, I'll pour a little out, and it'll be half full again, and I'll fill it up again, and I'll pour a little out, and but my glass is definitely half full. Thank you so much for having me, Chris.
I love it. Thank you so much for being a guest here on Glass Half Full. We want to thank you again for taking some time out, and we hope to have you back for next season if we can.
Of course, anytime you want me.
Oh, thank you. You have a great evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye. And thank you for all our listeners, all you listening in to Glass Half Full, a safe platform where everyone can share their life experiences. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Levens. Please subscribe, follow, and rate this podcast for more learning experiences. Until next time, be blessed. See ya.